All right, welcome to my podcast. And today we have exciting topic. And Katie Day will be helping me navigating through building a team, benefits of having a team, where to start, what's the budget, what's the values, bring to the agents for them to join the team. So I want to welcome Katie to my podcast.
How's it going? Thanks so much for having me. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited too. So let's get started. Everyone knows you as huge video influencer, but today I want to talk to you about teams. So give us a little bit of feedback on when you started a team. How big is your team right now?
Yeah, for sure. So I got into real estate full time in 2017, and my husband got into real estate in June of 2017. And we kind of both did our own thing on our own and didn't really work together. And then in we obviously got busier and busier the more we sold real estate and created good relationships with clients and things like that. And in the middle of 2018 is when I kind of had the idea that we should start a team after hearing a business coach speak about teams and how great it was to leverage your time and all these things, right? So end of 2018 we started the team. We grew it over 2019 and 2020. We kind of stayed at that time around kind of 5 agents or so. And then 2020 to now, we've had a team as large as about 20 people, and right now we have 11 total agents.
Oh, wow. That's very impressive. So 11 agents working on your behalf, bringing sales, bringing value. So where it's all started, like when you decided, well, right now I need to start hiring.
So I didn't have a coach. I was kind of doing everything on my own, right? And listening to like, Tom Ferry YouTube things and going to different local events and seminars and stuff like that. And so in 2018, I did a leadership program in Houston, and during that we had different trainings and different professional development things, and it helped us with leadership and speaking and uh, you know, uh, finances and financial planning and stuff like that. And one of the people that came in was a business coach, right? And so, um, for a lot of agents, and I definitely felt this way in 2018, you have a lot of business, you're kind of doing all of the things. I didn't have a transaction coordinator, I didn't have a showing partner, I didn't have an admin, so I was all of those things. And so he kind of explained the structure or different structures of a team and what that would look like, and having different, people working with you and things like that, and how that could better leverage your time so you could better serve clients. And so, I know we've been together at a lot of different events and things like that. How you come home from an event and you just like unload all of these things on your team or your spouse or whoever it may be, and sometimes it's one and the same. And so I came home from this event and I told my husband, I'm like, we need to join coaching. We need to start a team. We need to do all of this stuff. And he's just like, you're crazy. So that was the catalyst of it all. Eventually that in 2018, we ended up signing up for coaching, and going down that path of starting a team. And so what I did, I wouldn't recommend people do. My first person that came to work with us was an agent. So we had a partner agent on the team that was kind of a buyer's agent and helped with listings and different things like that. Looking back on it now, and what my coach told me to do and I didn't do was hire an admin and get things a little bit more organized and have, someone possibly helping with the transaction coordination side and things like that. First hire
But
was an agent. So my first hire was an agent.
well, interesting that you brought that up. That's what I wanted to ask you. How's the structure of your team right now? Typically, agents think, well, I'm going to be the team leader and I can have 10 buyers agent, but it can structure a different way. So how it structures in your team?
Yeah, for sure. So we have agents on the team. And so agents, when they first come in, will generally work just with buyers. And then once they've done at least 10 transactions with the team, then at that point they can train to be able to do listings as well. So we have right now on the team 3, like what we would call sales partners that do both buyers and listings. We have 3 other agents on the team that are currently training, and shadowing and setting listing appointments and things like that. And then the remainder are just working with buyers right now at this time. And then as far as support staff goes, we have two transaction coordinators, we have a marketing coordinator, and then we have two VAs that are overseas.
Hmm. Very interesting. So it combines all the aspects: transaction coordinator, marketing team, person who's showing houses, who listing houses. That sounds like working like a well-oiled machine. But let me ask you this: how are you bringing agents to your team? With transaction coordinator, you're probably paying them salary, but how about agents?
Yeah, for sure. So, a couple different things. We always have an ad running on WiseHire, which pushes out to Indeed and to different job boards and things like that. But what I found is generally when you're thinking about maybe making a brokerage change or moving, when you're an experienced agent, like you don't go online to like monster.com. I don't even know if that's still a thing, but like, you don't go online to a job board and search for a brokerage, right? You see where your friends are, you see where people that you know in the industry are, and then maybe you go to that brokerage, right? You're not looking on a job board to see where people might be hiring. And so generally, we find that people that are responding to job inquiries online are newer or just recently licensed. There's not as many, people that are more experienced. So we have the job board front, we have social media, and then I also lean in on my vendor partners, and like my lender, title company, and different things like that, because they, may know that someone's considering leaving a brokerage or considering leaving a team or something like that.
Very interesting. And I've heard about running ads through WiseHire, and it works really well. So that's another proof of using this company can lead to success. And social media, certainly, everyone sees you online and they like, oh, I want to work with Katie. She's everywhere. Okay, great. So next question I have for you is, what are you bringing to the table to these agents? Are you supplying with leads? Are you supplying with technology? Are you supplying with coaching? What are you bringing to the table to them?
All of the above, right? So you mentioned leads, you mentioned technology, you mentioned coaching. So I'll kind of touch on all three, but kind of work backwards. So as far as coaching goes, we know each other through the Tom Ferry world, right? And so we provide coaching to our team members, right? So they have two times a month a call, with a Tom Ferry coach, as well as obviously all of the great webinars in Tom Ferry, as well as all of the resources in Loom and things like that, right? And so from a coaching front, right, we have a coaching network. We also do one-on-ones and regular meetings with our agents. So I'm coaching, and my husband as well is coaching and mentoring and training our agents. Along the same lines as the coaching front, we're pretty heavy on script practice and role play and things like that. And so we have weekly script practice and role play both on the buyer side and the seller side. And so it's something that most of the team doesn't enjoy doing, because it's a little uncomfortable, but it's something that I think is really important to have a good foundation of knowing what to say when you're having conversations with prospects and clients and things like that. You mentioned technology, and so we offer people on our team access to a CRM, to Sisu, to email, to all of our marketing templates, to both digital marketing templates as well as home buying guides and home selling guides that are paper copies to take with them on appointments, and then all of our kind of systems on like how to do things and stuff like that, and training around things like that, and then the leads situation, right? I think that there's three categories of leads, and what we do with leads is we provide you the opportunity to do open houses, right? So not only for listings that we have, but we have relationships with other brokerages and other agents and developers and things like that for additional opportunity for open houses. We provide open house signs and the tools for you to best leverage those open houses. We also provide the opportunity for you to leverage your sphere. So we do 6 client events per year, and you can invite all of your past clients and sphere and friends and things like that to those events. And so those provide a great touch point for you to make those phone calls and have conversation with people. And obviously it's even better if they're able to come, but it's great if you're just having conversations with them around those events. And then finally, we also do provide leads. And so we are a very heavy organic lead team, right? So we do a lot of past client referrals. We do a lot of sphere of influence referrals, agent to agent referrals, social media, YouTube, Instagram leads and things like that. And then we also have some like Google PPC and leveraging our listings and stuff like that. But as far as leads go, there's definitely you need to be bringing stuff to the table as well as us providing you leads too.
Right, Katie. And question that will follow this conversation is when I coach agents and they write on the fence, should I start a team or should I continue being solo agent? Is that it's pretty expensive. Everything you mentioned, buying leads, client events, it sounds like it's expensive. And what happens if you hire an agent and the agent is not performing? You buying leads and leads are gone. So do you have any systems of controlling them, how they convert, or you just letting them do it for quite some time, and if they not performing, you just fire them?
Yeah. So the first part of your question of the, should I continue to be a solo agent or start the team? I think that that's something to really think about before you start a team. Many people turn around and they suddenly have a team and then they're like, okay, I like what happened and why am I in this spot kind of thing, right? So thinking about that first is super important and I'm glad that you mentioned that. Um but as far as, when you're looking at leads and things like that, I think depending on lead source, and depending on the really depending on the lead source, I'll start with that. Um, you're not always going to convert every single lead, right? So a lot of times agents will say, I need more leads, I need more leads, I need more leads. But really, they probably need to just call the leads they have and contact the leads they have more frequently, right? And so, for PPC, like Google PPC, like, you know, 10 to 15 to 20, maybe 25 leads per person per month is probably the max that someone could actually work and contact in a regular enough cadence to convert them or at least have conversations with them and move them along, right? And so I think what we do is we take a look on a weekly basis and on a monthly basis to how many leads everyone has, how frequently they're being contacted, and then again, as you said, the conversion of it, right? So if I make 500 phone calls and don't talk to anyone, I'm either saying the wrong thing or I'm calling at the wrong time, or there's something, yeah, a training opportunity there. But yeah, we're continually monitoring that, in our CRM to see how many leads everyone has and if they're actually being contacted, how quickly they're being contacted, the cadence of communication, things like that.
You're absolutely right. And we had a podcast last week with Ray Allen where he shared that it's not about amount of leads, it's about quality of follow up and the values that you're bringing to the table. Yeah, it's so easy to get a phone number and say, oh, it's a junk lead. I'm going to delete it. It's not a junk lead. It's a person behind this number who has some level of intent to buy or sell real estate. So you're absolutely right here. Let me follow on the team topic. Another concern that I hear a lot from agents who considering starting a team is that, well, I get a team, I have agents, and then my past clients, my sphere, they will work with this agent, and then at some point that agent gonna go solo or create his or her own team and gonna kind of steal my leads. Have you ever experienced anything like that?
You have to come from an abundance mindset when you are thinking about starting a team. Um, you know, I've had that concern, right? So like say Roman, like you and I did, I helped you to purchase a home, and then I have my buyer's agent help you purchase your next home. Like, will you go with them or will you go with me? I think what it comes down to, and for me is, you know, I'm going to continue to provide value to you, right? As far as providing you with equity reviews and updates on your property, I am going to continue inviting you to client events and things like that. Um, when I look at team members that have left the team and are still doing real estate and are kind of doing their own thing, and I have an agent that left and started her own team. um some of the people that transacted with her, like when I'm seeing her post new listings or rental listings or things like that, like are deals that you know she did while she was with me initially, right? Like she helped them buy and now she's helping them sell, if that makes sense, right? um but when I think about, like, for those, like, those weren't my past client, that wasn't my sphere, that wasn't my people, like, I'm still in contact with all of my people. So yeah, I mean, I think some people will choose to work with, them instead of you. And I think the introspective look, or the thing that you have to kind of remind yourself is like, you probably, like, you could have potentially followed up with them better, but it's probable that the other agent did. Does that make sense?
It does. It's very competitive business, and if you're losing business to the agent who was on your team, or his who is on your team, that means that you're not doing good enough work to market yourself, to stay in contact. And it is fair for the person to work with someone who's putting more work in this relationship, right?
I mean, I think so, right? That's I can't get mad if I see a home be relisted, with a previous agent or something like that. I probably should have followed up better. I mean, I think we all could do a better job, right, of following up and having conversations, and staying in communication with our past clients and our sphere and people we know. It just gets hard, with life and things like that.
Right, exactly. And we talked about so many benefits of having a team. Can you share with us anything on the negative side? Maybe like what to be concerned about when starting a team that no one knows, because everyone wants to hire buyers agents, let them follow up on leads, sell houses, and get paid. But there's definitely another side of this thing, right?
For sure, for sure. No, that I think that it's glamorized. It's something that's talked about in our industry a lot these days, of having a team. But what's not really talked about is the profitability. We talk a lot in top line revenue, but we don't talk about what the net is, right? We talk about our gross commission, but not the net commission income. And so I think the first thing, and you mentioned it earlier, of really taking an introspective look, and understanding if you actually want to have a team or not, and why you are looking into potentially starting this team, right? What your intent is, and kind of why you're doing it, is the first step, right? So do you want it, and why are you doing this? And then I think you need to be very, very clear on what your costs are, right? So your cost per buyer acquisition. So if everything's organic, that's fine, but you potentially are paying for, lunches and dinners and client events and social media and things like that. That would be more organic business. It doesn't technically cost you money, right? And then if you have, Zillow or PPC or whatever, how much you paying per lead on that, or per month on that, and then your cost per listing. And you need to make decisions in starting your team based on those financials. Too many people don't take a look at that, and they say, "Oh, I'm going to give my agents 80% commission, or 70% commission, or 50% commission," and they're not actually making any money, and they don't realize that until they're super stressed, have 5 agents, and, have no money in their bank account, but their GCI is, 7 figures or something like that.
Great. All right, Katie, I think we have enough content for people to process. I don't want to overwhelm our viewers. So let's finish on your message. Most likely, who's going to be watching this podcast is a person who's either solo and considering the team, or just started a team and thinking about growing the team. What would be your final message to them?
No, I think that as you are growing your team, and as you're looking to hire on agents and things like that, it's important to understand what your value prop is. A lot of times when you meet with an agent that wants to join a team, the first question that they ask you is, do you give me leads? Right. And so if you notice, when I answered the question, or when I was talking about leads, like I framed it in open houses, sphere, then team provided leads. Right. We have levels of our team provided leads, so that as you do more production, you get those more bottom of funnel leads, right? Like day one on the team, I'm not giving you, my best friend's mom to sell her home, or to help her buy a home, right? Like, you have to show that you're bringing business to the table. You have to show that you know what you're doing before I put that level of trust in you, because it's, ultimately my name, right? And my business. So, I think that just understanding what your value prop is. And again, if it's technology, if it's training, if it's coaching, if it's mentorship, like all of those things, I think are somewhat priceless, right? But you need to understand what your value prop is, and be comfortable in that, in having conversations with agents.
Sounds great. That was a good one. All right. Well, I'll wrap this podcast on this beautiful note. Thank you, Katie, for meeting with me today. It was a great pleasure.
Awesome. Thanks so much.